Hi everybody. In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw a roll of toilet paper on a white background from direct observation. First thing you want to do is get something like a desk or table that you can put very close to your wall, and you may have to put a box on top of it so you get your toilet paper at a good level for you to see. You don't want it so low under your eye level that it'll look kind of distorted and not like a cylinder. So once you get that set up, you want to rip out a piece of white paper from your tablet and set that down on top, and then take another piece of white paper and you're going to attach that to the wall. So you've got, basically you want to make white on white still life, so you can just study the shadows and not get concerned with local color. Then you want to take some kind of light. A reading light is fine, and I've talked to you before about using a clamp light that mechanics and construction workers often use. So that's what I use. So good strong direct light and a strong cast shadow. Okay, now I need to lay out the toilet paper roll. And what I want you to understand is the view that you're seeing from the camera is going to be very different than the view that I'm seeing, because I'm about 4 feet closer. So here goes. First off, I want to start out thinking about where I'm going to place the toilet paper within this square. And as I'm looking at the toilet paper, I wish I had a viewfinder, but we left those at school. And so what I'm going to do is just take one hand like this, the other hand like that, and I'm going to try to visualize how that will look and where I should put it on the paper. And so it looks like I should really put it kind of close to the top, close to the left, so I have room for the toilet paper draping down and also the cast shadow over here on the right. So using an H pencil, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start with an ellipse shape right here. I'm going to circle around and around like we practiced in school, and then I'm going to just pull some verticals right on down like that. Now after I draw that ellipse, I want to check to make sure that it's the correct proportion. So I'm going to measure the minor axis, which is the height of it, and I'm going to compare it to the longer axis, the major axis. And it looks like the height, the minor axis, is about half of the width. So I was about right when I drew this. Now, as I'm looking at this curve, though, I really want this part to swing around and be a little bit more curvy. So I'm going to play around with that ellipse shape just a little bit so I get it just how I want it. And later I'll go back and I'll erase some of those extra lines. And then I'm going to stand back, I'm going to just kind of lean back, look at that, and maybe I want it a little bit flatter right in there. Now after I do that, I'm going to put a straight line down the middle of that toilet paper, and also a line here for the other axis going across the major axis. Then I'm going to draw the hole in the middle of the toilet paper, and it looks to be like it would be about that large. And I'm looking at the curve, and that seems about right. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to check out the height of the toilet paper versus the width. Now also, as I'm looking at that, I'm finding that I have a little bit too much distance here. So I could even measure that here, measure that there, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to come in there just a little bit more, and so that looks a little bit more symmetrical. Alright, so I'm pulling that around there and pulling that down there. I think this is probably a good time to clean up some of those edges a little bit. And so I'm going to use a kneaded eraser to do that. And I'm going to just come around here, erase that a little bit. And I like some of those lower lines in there. So with the tonal drawing, you're going to sketch it lightly. You're going to do a gestural drawing first. You're going to do all your measurements. Then you're going to clean up your drawing. Okay, so this is coming down here. And as I said before, what I really need to do is I need to definitely need to measure the width and then compare it to the height. So I'm going to measure the height of the toilet paper, and then I'm going to compare it to the width. Now, it's a little bit awkward with the camera and the paper and trying to measure. So what I would really do is hold it like that and then rotate my arm like that, remembering you definitely want to keep your elbow straight and one eye shut. So the height compared to the width, keeping your pencil flat on the picture plane, and the width's a little bit longer than the height. Okay, so the width is going to be a little longer than the height. So I would estimate that my height's going to be about there. I'm going to check that again. So my width here, that's, oops, I mean my height. The height compared to the width. All right, it should be about that big, should be about that big, and yeah, that's going to come up just a little bit more. Okay, so the bottom of my toilet paper roll is going to be another ellipse. Now this one's going to be a little bit curvier because it's further from my eye level. You can see I'm just swinging that pencil around, getting my ellipse down there, and I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so stepping back and checking out my toilet paper roll, I'm still not 100% happy with this side, and I do want to pull that in a little bit, swing that around there a little bit more. And really you want to perfect your drawing before you start your shading. That's really, really important that you make sure that you get your toilet paper as close as possible to what you're seeing. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to work on this angle of the toilet paper as it comes down. So as I'm looking at the general angle, what I'm seeing is I can actually compare it to this vertical. And I see that it comes off at that angle. So that's what the angle looks like to me. I'm holding it right on that edge. But it's not that angle the whole way. It starts off like that, and then it has a break and it comes like that. So that angle starts off like this, goes to about here, and then comes off at a different angle. I'm going to check those angles by transferring my angles, see if I'm about right. That seems fine. And that's fine as well. And then where that break is, this comes across that toilet paper like that, cutting off part of the roll, leaving a negative space right in here. So that's where the toilet paper is hitting the bottom. And this line, I didn't clean that up yet, but that's going to kind of come up there. This is going to come to about there, looking at that negative space right in here. So I'm looking at that paper there as it comes towards me, and it angles out this way just slightly. Now I want to also look at the width. I'm going to measure the width of that toilet paper roll as it comes toward me, because I think because of perspective it's going to look a little bit wider. Yep, sure does. Looks wider than the toilet paper roll. So in the foreground, when it's closer to me, it looks that wide. So that's about where that's going to go. And I want to check to see if that's a horizontal, and it's not. Kind of zooms up kind of around like that, goes to there and here. Now, there's also a cast shadow, and that cast shadow is coming in here like this. I see it coming in there. Now it comes off at an angle, and then I can check that angle like that. I'm also looking at this shadowy area here to see that shape right in there. That's coming off this way. And the top of the shadow is round about in here, and it kind of curves around like that. So I don't want to get too defined on that edge because I want that to be soft and fuzzy back there, because that shadow is soft and fuzzy. All right, so that's laying out this drawing. I would take a few minutes to just clean it up and get rid of all the extraneous lines, all the siding lines, because remember, with this tonal drawing, at the end of the tonal drawing, you don't want any lines to show at all. So, and now I'm standing back, having a look. I want to pull that down a little bit like that. The kneaded eraser is really, really nice. I hope you have one at home, because it doesn't leave any of those little erasure crumbs behind. All right, ready to start shading.